Hello, welcome to the Steam Release Podcast. We go through the release list so that you don't have to. And joining us today is the mysteriously pale. Are you feeling well? Quite so well, Rody Pie?
I'll be fine. I'll suffer through it.
Do you have a sudden hunger for blood?
Always.
And
thanks for having me.
Oh yes, always. It is always a pleasure. It's always a surprise. And welcome, TopGunBunny, rocking that handlebar mustache. Welcome.
How's it going? It's always nice to be here.
I'm glad we got just everyone here. Oh, and I gotta remove the pre-show tag. I'm a dumb. There we go. Pre-show tag gone.
But yeah, I appreciate that mustache. That's great.
It is coming along. Yeah, there's a lot. I'm having people like come up to me in the mall now and be like, "I really like your mustache." I'm like, "Where's your boyfriend?"
That happens to a friend of mine all the time. My word, it happens a lot. Where they're just like, and so his comeback, like almost every time we'd go to a restaurant, like the waitress or the waiter would say, "Hey, I really like your mustache," and especially for waitress, he would say like, "Oh yeah, it's great. You should grow one too."
You should try it. It's amazing.
You should try it. This is just like, it's always a conversation starter.
Yeah.
And all right, with that, so I guess just it's been a couple weeks. So starting with Rody, what have you been up to this last couple weeks?
Right. So, I'm continually playing Forager. I haven't played it much in this last week because I had my arm playing it because
click.
Yeah, it's such a clicker type of game. I had to go to physiotherapy basically.
Oh no.
It got that bad. So yeah, and they said, oh, you have to. So they did like ultrasound and they had to, it really hurts. So they said, yeah, you got to make sure to stretch it. And I've got one of those gel pads on my desk now, so I'm not having to tell everyone like that too much. So
my word.
Yeah. So I also got back into doing a bit more streaming. On Tuesday we're talking with the people who are regulars in my Twitch what we're going to play next, and because I categorized things to what short games that I had that we could play, we came up with like 4 games that would be interesting, and I think they're all point and click games, so I seem to find a crowd that really like point and click games, even though it might not be the usual games that they themselves play. So yesterday booted up Detective Grimoire, and we finished it in the one sitting, and it is a fantastic point and click game. Hey Akio, hey.
Hello.
Howdy Akaho, welcome back. I like the style. It's kind of like Cartoon Network sort of style. Yeah,
and it's like so yeah, you're in this. There's this tourist attraction deep in a swamp, and you just someone's been murdered. The attraction owner's been murdered, and you're investigating his murder because it looks like the swamp creature was the one that actually did it. So of course, we're being a detective, being skeptical of this. We're actually investigating it to see, well, that can't be possible because no one's ever seen him in 60 years. So, we're trying to disprove that. This is a great point and click game. It's actually, there's no, because usually when you pixel hunt for something, which is, what these point and click games, a lot of them are like, when you hover over something that you can interact with, it lets you know, it's like, oh, you can grab this or you can look at this or something. There's none of that. There's just like, oh, click and see if it says something. So you get no sort of hint that you might be able to click on that. And when you talk to people, you bring up your notebook of interesting things you noticed, and you can ask them about it. And then you've got another separate notebook that has profiles of suspects, and you can ask them about these people as well. So it's really good, because I like that, like being detective and saying, oh yeah, well what about this, have you seen this? And they say, well, no, I can't tell you about that. Oh, actually, yes, that thing is interesting. And then when the detective is sort of he has an idea about something but doesn't know how to word it, you match up, you put the idea and the words that he's thinking into one sentence. So it's like, oh, this piece of evidence is actually quite interesting because Thomas owns this or something, and it's like, yes. And then you get yes. So I've never seen that before done in a point and click game.
Just have a corkboard on your side with strings going between them.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Hey, Falcon Spain, thanks for coming in.
Welcome.
But yeah, we had lots of fun, and we had so much fun that didn't want to put it down. We're so close to the end, we might as well, let's just go through it and finish it. So we finished it, I think, maybe just over 3 hours it took us to do. So, and it's fully voiced, really, really good voice acting, nice music. And although I don't like mini games in my point and click games, because I feel like they're just shoved in to pad it out, it was the mini games, like, they made sense. It's like, it was, we can't get through a door, here is how, oh, let's try and open this door, oh, let's do this lock picking thing, and it's like, oh, there's weeds, I can't get to the key, and so you got to move the weeds out the way. Oh, it looks like there's a clue here, this has been disrupted, let's put it together. So it's mini games, but they make sense. It's not just
the mini games help tell part of the story because they fit in the world, they fit in the scenario. That's exactly. Really cool. That's really cool. It wasn't lazy design. That's neat.
Yeah, exactly. And so I completed that, and so I started One Moment of Time Silent Fill. So that's like a hidden object game, and it's one of those ones. It's okay. Not the best hidden object game I've played, but it's challenging enough, and it's fun, it's interesting enough story. Graphics could be better. So it seems like you go to this the train stops off at this village, and it seems everything has just stopped in time completely, and you are aging rapidly, and you have to solve what's happened here before you
dive
turn to dust. Yeah, you turn to dust pretty much. So yeah, it's interesting enough. But yeah, that's brought my completed list up to 184, and we started with 168 at the beginning of the year. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking your uncompleted went up, and I was like, no, that's the completed. Oh, cool. That's awesome. And you haven't bought too many games to...
No. I've only bought Forager, I think. Yeah. So that's I've been really good with myself. I'll probably buy another game when I completed 200 games.
Yeah, that's a good way to have a set of goals. And TopGunBunny, what about you? The last several weeks, actually.
Well, guys, I gotta tell you, I've hit rock bottom. I am now watching old school RuneScape videos on YouTube. I don't know if there's any further down we can go from here.
Oh no!
I mean, you were already at Maple Story. So.
I mean, earlier today, I had Smite on one screen, and I had two separate RuneScape accounts open on my other screen.
Wow!
You're regressing.
I was like, this is just. I don't know. I need to find some new stuff. I need to find some new games. Sea of Thieves released all their new content, but I haven't had anybody to play that with, so I don't know if I'll get a chance to play that yet. And work is crazy. Merc is bonkers.
Oh, did you play that Pirate Ferret game?
I did try that Pirate Ferret game. What was it called again? It was, you sent it to me, Ferret Scoundrels. I mean, coming from Sea of Thieves, it obviously didn't really stand up to that, I don't think, but I did manage to get into some PvP encounters in it, and they were kind of fun, and I like having the cannon on the front of the ship as well. But when you get sunk, you come back on a raft. So you lose your ship. You come back on a raft, and I'm not really sure, or I didn't really put the time in afterwards to try and figure out how to get my ship back. Now you could like get in PvP with somebody and get them down to the point where they've almost sunk, and you could like try and commandeer their ship from them. But there was like a very, very low chance. It was like a 1% chance or something that they were actually going to give it up to you. So I don't know.
Wow.
It did seem kind of fun, but at the same time, like I already do have Sea of Thieves, which is really like a much better experience, I think. Although Sea of Thieves is, and it might be hearsay, but they might be adding some ways to attack people from the front of your ship, like tethers and stuff like that. So that would pretty much bridge the gap between those two, I think. But yeah, it was fun for a minute, and then I died, and I was like, okay, I don't know how to get my ship back, and I'm on a raft, and I'm on a raft forever. So.
Well, that's good. It's good, like to a game that we've talked about, and you get to play it, and it's like
What was the title of that again?
Ferret Scoundrels.
Oh, that's right, Ferret Scoundrels.
And it's not full. It's not like out completely though, right?
Oh,
It's
it's early access or something.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's
but
still early access.
The release date was summer 2019, so I don't know if they're really going to be able to change it much more than what it is. But
it's from what sounds like they still need a lot of work doing to it, and it was good that they did that free play weekend, so people can hopefully give them a lot of feedback and say no, go back and work.
Go back and release this next year, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, although release lists on Steam are very flexible. I've seen release lists as like releases in 2017 and it's still unreleased. So they just have not updated it.
I have to say about that Detective Grimoire, it looked like they were going to do more like sequels for it, and they haven't. There's like no word, and I think it was like released in was it 2015 or something? But yeah, I'm disappointed. There's no sequels.
Oh, yeah,
came out in 2014. Yeah.
Yeah, Akio, I can't get into Neopets because my wife is really good at Neopets, and I wouldn't be able to enjoy myself. She'd just demolish me. She's got she's deep into that.
Oh man. Yeah, I remember my Neopets days. That was a time. They had some really good they did have some really good Flash games, like particularly there's that series about you played this one little like I don't know, like ferret girl or something, and you would bounce around within it's like a platformer. It's like a combat platformer. It was really, really fun actually. It was a well-made platformer, but yeah. And there was an RPG one that every time you made a move, it reloaded the web browser page.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember two games that was really fun for me in Neopets was like it was Mirka Run or whatever, where you were that little squirrel looking thing, and you'd have to like collect eggs or something, and the eggs would follow behind you. It was kind of like a train game.
Oh yeah.
Where you couldn't touch your train. And there's another one where it was basically just like blackjack. And it was like super easy. No, I think it was called Cheat. So it was like a card game, and the point of the game was to cheat at the game, and then if somebody called out that you were cheating and you were in fact cheating, then you'd lose. But the only way to win was to actually
cheat. Yeah.
I think I played it, but I didn't really like the mini games so much. But I liked playing the Wheel of Fortunes and Wheel of Misfortunes and the Wheel of Mediocrity. It was great.
It was good. Like Neopets wasn't bad.
Yeah, but I think the lack of updates, and they're saying like this area, it's coming soon, and then they just never
and they ended up
updated
selling it to somebody else, I think. So
Yeah,
the people who own it,
Scientologists.
the people who own it now
Yeah.
didn't actually create it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really failed at because they had a decent oh yeah, Scientologist, the Church of Scientology owns it now. Oh my word! But they really failed at because they had a good IP. They had a good IP, and they really could have moved it forward into they did try a few times. I think they attempted to make a console game, and I think
I actually own the console game.
Yeah. But they just never really had much success beyond the browser, which was unfortunate.
Yeah.
The console game was good though. It was good. And I know they had some toys and stuff in McDonald's at one point. It's not like it didn't grow.
Yeah, they had. Yeah, I remember Saturday morning cartoons. They would, or Sunday morning cartoons, they would this is sponsored by Neopets, and look, you can get the plushies and stuff like that, and it was just like, so yeah, obviously it was big.
Yeah. Let me see. As for me, I've been playing besides all of my regular stuff, which we talk about every week, I've been playing Titan Quest. I've owned this game for a very long time, so it's one of those that's been in my library. It's like a Diablo-esque, kind of Diablo 2 esque game, but it's fully voice acted. It's made by THQ Nordic, and it's actually really fun. It's set in Grecian, except in a fantasy classical Greece era. So you start near Sparta, and then you go to Athens, and you just travel around Greece. It goes beyond Greece too, but it's a really cool romp through the ancient world with fantasy elements, of course, mostly fantasy. And I quite like it. It's a fun game. They've got some weird archaic features, like you can change the speed of the game. Like you can set it to fast or very fast, and that makes everything in the game run faster. So and it makes it a bit more action. So that's how I'm playing it now, is I have it set on very fast, because on normal speed is a very slow game.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
I didn't realize that you could change the speed of that. Probably go back and play it.
Oh yeah, once you set it to really fast, it's so good.
Yeah. I started playing it and I was like, I really I play Smite, which is like the battleground of the gods, all the Greek gods and all that stuff. So I liked mythology, and I played Diablo, and I like Diablo. I'm like, I should inherently like this game, and I started playing it, and just didn't continue.
I normally, for games like these, I normally add a tag of backseat gaming allowed. And that's how I learned all this. It's just like, oh, you can do that, and it made the gameplay so much more enjoyable. So I'm enjoying that. I'm now playing an alt, and I need to finish the story, but it's really it is a fun game, and it's kind of one of those nice relaxing games too, where you can just kind of it's not super relaxing. It's not like if you play regular Diablo 3 where you can just melt everything. You have to be aware that you could die at any moment, but even against random adds. But at the same time, once you get into the flow, you can just be listening to music or listening to a podcast, and it's like it's a nice game for that. And it's got good voice acting. So that was my last couple weeks.
So it's just under 8 weeks for the expansion for Final Fantasy 14.
Oh yes. Yes. Yeah. I am trying to get Stormblood done before then. But I don't think I'm going to get it done before then. But I am excited. It's going to be a day one purchase for me, and I will be changing my I'll be changing my oh my gosh, I'm forgetting Rogadin. I'm going to be changing my Rogadin to a Ronso. Rothgar or whatever. So it'll be fun. Excuse me. All right. And with that, let's start with some honorable mentions. We actually have quite a few honorable mentions because, for one, it's been 2 weeks, and for two, May the 4th happened yesterday.
Yes.
And with it, we got Star Wars Battlefront Classic. This is the original Star Wars Battlefront. It is now on Steam with online servers.
Mm-hmm.
You can play it again.
I found this really funny when I was looking through it because Star Wars Battlefront 2 is already on Steam, and I already have it, and it already has live servers, and it's arguably the better one of the two, and it's half the price of this one. So if you've never played, if you don't own either of them, this one, yes, it came out yesterday, but I would probably suggest that you actually get Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's half the price and twice as good a game.
Yeah, Battlefront 2 is definitely the better game. But yeah, it was just a cool nostalgia trip. It was like, what?
Yeah, they were just like, oh, here you go. Here's the other thing that we might be able to make money off again.
I'm hoping one day they bring out the MMO, but like the original, not when they redid it up to be a bit more like WoW.
Oh yeah.
But, I want the old MMO graphics a bit updated. Yeah, and they maintain the servers.
That is the dream. Star Wars Galaxy is the dream.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Yes.
But yeah, it was basically EverQuest Star Wars. My word.
Oh, okay. I played the. What was the one I played? The one that's still out now.
Oh, the Old Republic.
Old Republic, yeah, yeah. I was playing that with my wife for a little while. It's good.
Yeah.
I like that everything's got voice acting.
Yeah, it's got great story. The thing is, I stopped at Alderaan because Alderaan is awful. Like it takes many hours to get through Alderaan, and I hate it. So I will go back to it someday. But gosh, I hate Alderaan because you're supposed to save this royal family, and they're all dicks to you. Just like, I just want you all to die. Can I make that choice? But you can't make that choice because I was on like I was playing a light side character. It's like, oh, I can't just let all of you die.
Yeah.
Just, and in the end, after 12 hours of playing on Alderaan, I was like, you know what? Alderaan needed to be destroyed. I was so mad at that.
I was like, fine, I'm done. I'm done with this.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted, I was trying to find the main story. I just want to get the main story done so I can get off of this rock and let it get destroyed by the Death Star. I was so mad. Maybe that'll have cooled down. I might be able to go back to it because I want to romance my my companion that's voiced by Amundsen. Timon Amundsen. He's a guy from Psych, so that's the one reason why I chose that character. It's like, what? I can romance this guy from Psych. That's hilarious. But yeah, okay. That's all my opinions on tour. We have another honorable mention. That I included. It did come out this week out of early access. It's called MORDHAU. I'm not really shouting this one out because I particularly want to play it. It's more of a case of that, hey, this is a really HD sort of medieval battle type game, and it was made by an indie studio, Triternion. So, just kind of a little shout out. It's already seen huge success. It's got almost 7,000 reviews because there's tons of people who like this kind of game. Not me, but it's hugely successful. So if you're looking for that kind of gritty melee combat Eurojank game, voila, you got it. MORDHAU.
Me personally, no, but I'm glad. I'm glad people who like this sort of games, LARPers and the such. They have something that's really well done, and a lot of love's been put in this.
Oh yeah, I'm in some discords where people go hardcore in this, where they'll start speaking in Middle English from my word. Just they get hardcore about these kind of games. Why not?
Why wouldn't you? This is the only time it may or may not be appropriate to speak in accents.
It's amazing just how passionate people I know get about these sorts of games. Me, I could pass on the jankiness and go for a more polished experience, but this is definitely a really high quality title and notable because it seems to be made by a pretty small studio. So I was impressed.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, nearly 7,000 people. 75% of them have given mostly positive reviews. So yeah, positive reviews, 75%. Fantastic.
So it's mostly just a matchmaking game, hey? Like,
yeah, it's big battles. It's big battles.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a storyline. I think it's just big, large-scale battles.
I see.
They've got a lot of different situations too. They got castles, they got village skirmishes. Like they've got all these different scenarios. So impressive work. But this is basically like, you know, Battlefield Middle Ages.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I'm glad to see it's in first person. Like when I was playing Skyrim and stuff, I'd always play in first person like this as well. I could probably get into this, but playing a game like this, I think I'd prefer to play more of a storyline based.
Yeah.
Game, but...
Oh yeah,
definitely. This is 10% off right now. It's £21.41. So it's not bad. It's not bad.
All right. The next shout out is honorable mention is Dr. Trolley's Problem. And Rhodey, you sent this to me, and I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a very short game. However, so the problem is you have to help Dr. Trolley with is who would you prefer to get hit with a train? Is it you've got the choice? It's always that conundrum of it's like is it going to be? Would you want the people on the train to die, or like would you save your sibling or something like that? This is like there's your high school bully is on the tracks. Would you save them? And it's like, what are you going to choose? So yeah, and there's more decisions like that. It's like who's going to die, this person or this person. It's just funny. It's just funny, and I love it.
I had classes of I had like it was like in a debate class, and this was part of it where we had to like come to like there were two impossible options for these questions. So it's like you have to write essays on these sort of things.
Yeah, it's like ethical dilemmas.
Yeah, ethical dilemmas where there is no right answer really. But yeah, have to argue your point. So yeah, it was I just thought it was interesting. It got a little flashback to because I'm pretty sure I've seen even some of these puzzles like specifically in the textbooks. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah. Right. And it's $3.99. I'm not sure how long it is. So I don't know if it seems like people have got like less than an hour on
it says currently the game has 50 ethical situations that last anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute each.
So yeah,
so you got about an hour of gameplay.
Yeah. I think they should have made it a bit cheaper, to be honest. But
$5, a little steep. Unless the game like gets regular updates, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But it also like has that sort of neat theme where it's sort of like these are real dilemmas, not specifically these necessarily, but like AI programmers, people making self-driving vehicles and stuff. These are things they have to think about. Well, not necessarily like they won't know whether these two guys like, oh, this guy's a drug addict and this guy's a dad with like 12 kids. Like, who do you run over? But the situation of like, oh, so do you turn into the bigger crowd or do you keep going on the route? But there's people there as well. So just figuring out how does the computer make this decision kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's neat. Anyhow, our final honorable mention is a game called Little Misfortune, which has a demo out.
Yeah, I just wanted to let people know the demo is out for this. Now, this is from the same people that made Franbo.
Oh.
So yeah, I was surprised because I thought what they were going to work on next, and I'm sure they're working on because they did announce it. Was Franbo 2. So I don't know if this is kind of set in the same universe or what. So because it seems like it's got that sort of surreal That's the real sort of things going on. So it says, led by her new friend, Mr. Voice, Misfortune ventures into the woods where mysteries are unraveled and a little bad luck unfolds. So yeah, there's themes of death and you know. So yeah.
Sort of feels and sounds like Franbo, as I guess.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, now that you say that it's from the developers of Franbo, I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's going to do the same thing, though. It's like really interesting, and then suddenly it's not interesting.
Yeah, no, this is. I'm curious. I'll probably give the demo a go and see how it turns out. But I'm worried like they're just showing the best bits, and then if you buy the game, it's like, oh god, this is such an effort to get through all the way to the end. We'll see though. We'll see. But yeah, give it a go and let us, let them know what you think.
Yeah, I'm always down for surreal stuff. And with that, we can start the bona fide real release list. Now that we're done with the honorable mentions, let's start with Monday, April 22nd, with Zombotron. So this game had me as soon as I saw the trailer, basically. I was like, ooh, this immediately as I saw the first few frames is like, damn, this is really good. I forget the term for this, but it's like kind of a shadow puppet animation. Where you basically just have these solid parts, but you move them. It's done so well here. Like they just have the vehicle moving, and then they have the wheels turning. It looks so nice. So you're basically some guy on a mysterious alien planet, and you got to survive. Not a new thing there, but the art really captured me.
I love the look of it, and it's as you said, there's this sort of like animation with the kind of shadow puppets. It's so great, and it looks like lots of action. It just looks so beautiful. It looks really nice. It's not my kind of game, whatever, but it's I'm glad indie games like this exist, and they're putting all this effort in and making things look great and putting so much love into it. I don't know how long it is. There are 238 reviews for it, and it's 89% positive. So that's really good. How long is it, do you think?
No idea. I'm looking at the developer. Ant Karlov comes up with no results, but it is published by Armor Game Studio, which makes a ton of games, everything from Don't Escape, 4 Days to Survive, to Pinstripe and Love is Dead. So they've got quite a few Steam games out, and this is just the next one.
Oh yeah, we've
it says about 7 to 9 hours content.
That's good.
That's not bad. Yeah. It's going for 15, so if you want to wait for the sale, but if you're really into it, it's definitely not the worst bang for your buck.
They do a few point and click games, this publisher, because we spoke about one called Don't Escape, 4 Days to Survive. So interesting.
I think that they probably have a bunch of indie devs that get published through them. So yeah.
It looks good though.
Yeah. This is £11.39. So for 9 hours gameplay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's available in English and Russian, so I'm gonna guess the developer's probably Russian. And his name's Ant Karlov, so it's probably Antony Karlov. So, but yeah, game. It looks decent. It definitely looks decent. It's got good reviews, and it's kind of sort of that. I don't know if it has the Metroidvania sort of setup, but it definitely has that. You have platforming plus weapons, and there also seems to be some physics stuff, like you can crush enemies with things, and use environmental obstacles. So that's just a lot of coding, knowing firsthand. That is a lot of coding that could go wrong. So kudos, and I'm not seeing much in the way of chatter about it being buggy. So good job. Good job, Anton Karlov. Let me see. But yeah, that's $14.99. How much UK?
£11.39.
Okay, $11.39.
$17.50 Canadian.
$17.50 Canadian. Okay. Pretty reasonably priced. Our next title is from Wednesday, April 24th, and it is Super Phantom Cat.
This looks so cute.
Oh yeah, anyone who knows me knows immediately that if you put cats, I will buy it. Like, I'm a sucker. That said, this is a casual platformer, so it's not going to be really hardcore or particularly challenging, but they do have a wide set of mechanics, and it's more of a game that you jump in and just kind of have fun with it. Yeah, it's more of a casual platformer, but it's got this just really polished look to it. This is the kind of game that's like, you know, your kid's first platformer, sort of.
Yeah, like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
No wait, what was it? Tigger's Adventure for PlayStation 1.
Tigger's Adventure.
Ah, yeah.
That's your kid's first platformer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you say that though, but I'm sure, like, if I was to play this, like, I would get frustrated to the hell with the platforming.
Oh yeah.
I'm so bad. Bad at platforming.
Yeah, it's got an amazing aesthetic, and I think let me see, this is made by VWO Games. White Lake Studios, the publisher. They've got they do everything from Wengia, which is a 2D platform and puzzle solving game. Oh wow, they definitely go for a different style every single game, so that's kind of nice. Oh, and they also published Hyper Light Drifter. Oh, okay. So these guys are pretty decently well known. Wow. Okay, White Lake. I better drop them a follow so I can keep an eye on them. Yeah. So White Lake Studio. It's my word. It's just so cute.
How long is it?
How long? I'm seeing anywhere between 1 and 16 hours, so I'm not entirely sure. There are unlockables, so there may be some replay value to that, because you can unlock the different skins and appearances. So there's 5 chapters with 35 highly imaginative storyline levels.
Storylines. That's good.
Explore in all 4 directions. The levels may seem short, but there's actually a lot of hidden content for you to dig up. So though the goal may be in one direction, you could go in other directions to find other stuff.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
So
yeah.
And then you get 5 skills, lots of Easter eggs. So that's probably why some people have 16 hours on this game, because unlocking all the Easter eggs.
That's cool. Yeah. It's $3.99, so you know that's pretty good price with what's going on, I think. And there's 77 reviews right now, and 89% of them positive. Yeah.
For a game that's labeled as a casual platformer, I do like that they have some challenge in, you know, for some of the unlockables, they probably have more difficult sections of the level that are optional. That's kind of a neat way to also wean someone who's a beginner to platformers onto doing the harder stuff. That's kind of neat. But yeah, it's such a cute game, my word. This is going on my wish list.
Yeah, I added it too.
Yeah, it's $4.99 US. And next title is Backbone Prologue. This is also not out yet. But it does have a demo that's available. The prologue, the first episode, isn't out yet. This is set in a dystopian Vancouver, BC, which is just around the corner from where I grew up. I've been there a couple times. So this was
I live in Canada. I haven't been there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's actually the opposite side of the continent for me. So.
Yeah. And all the it's just like Vancouver, dystopian Vancouver, but everyone's a anthropomorphized animal, which has plenty of room for comedy in that way. It seems that they focused on animals that are native to North America, though, which is kind of neat.
I of course like really love stuff like this. I love I love point and click games, but I love detective stories and I love like noir, and I really like the pixel art in this.
Pixel art's so pretty.
Yeah, it's so well done. So atmospheric. I love this.
Pixel art with our modern lighting technology is a marriage made in heaven.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. I love it.
It's really good. I kind of, I don't know if I want to play this just yet, or if I wait until the game actually comes out, because if this is a prologue, I play this and say, oh yeah, I really want this right now, but when this actually comes out, which is it's coming out in 2020, I'm not going to remember like what happened in the prologue.
You're like, well, I'm going to play it over again.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious. It seems to be about an hour or just over an hour long, depending on how well how good you are at the puzzles.
Yeah.
Working out the puzzles. So yeah. I mean, this is one to keep an eye on for sure if you're into point and click games.
The developer is Eggnut. This is their first game on Steam, it seems. Actually, I better add Backbone to my wishlist too. But yeah, it's Eggnut. I'm gonna guess that they're probably Canadian because
why would this take place?
Why would this take place in Vancouver, BC? If you weren't from Vancouver, BC? And I'm seeing like some of the street scenes, like they definitely have references to real places. I don't know if they went through and like actually did that, but they definitely are.
But who's gonna get them, right? Who's gonna get the references? People from Vancouver.
Yeah, I strongly suspect that this is the Canadian developer, but that's cool. And they've got translated. They right off the bat, they're translating to English, Russian, French, German, Spanish, Japanese, and Chinese. So they're really going for a global launch. So
that's really impressive. But
especially for a story game, because that's a lot of dialogue to translate.
Oh yeah. And there's so currently there's 371 reviews gone up and 98% positive. So that's really good.
I mean, for a free demo, it's pretty easy to get positive because you just have to make value that's better than free, but still, like no one walked away like, oh, this was a waste of my time.
Yeah,
so, well, very
absolutely.
Few. Right, our next title is Antenna Dilemma. Oh, okay, there's soundtrack. There's a soundtrack in a supporters pack. You'll see, okay. The soundtrack, it costs more than the game.
Yeah, because the game's free. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether to like include this with like an honorable mention or just have this on the main list. It's so you play as a grey cube, and you don't want to miss your favorite TV show, and something happens to your antenna. So you're having to fix your TV basically. So this is point and click adventure about fixing your TV. Yeah.
TVs once had antennas.
Yeah. I didn't understand exactly what was happening at first. And then, like, I got about halfway through the video, and I was like, "Oh shit, they're all cubes."
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then the circles come to
him talking to the circle, and I was like, "Oh wait, no, they're people." Oh.
Yeah, you were looking, but you didn't see any sort of like character on the screen.
Yeah, that was like.
There's just some boxes. Like,
there's some boxes with.
Yeah, what's going on?
So, oh wait, they've got legs.
Well,
they have legs and as such must have sentient.
Yes. If you have legs, you are sentient. There's probably many problems with that logic.
But yeah, I think it's like a cute little game, and it's something good to pick up for free. I'm seeing like most people completed this in either just over an hour. So yeah, just
95% positive.
Yeah,
can't be free.
But although 22 users have written a review. So 95%.
Yep.
So
and a synth soundtrack if you want to buy that.
Yeah, you can buy the soundtrack for $2.99, or you can get the supporters pack, which is £1.69. So if you want to support the developers, like there's that option there.
I kind of like that. That's sort of like, hey, if you liked it, please drop us a tip, kind of thing. I like that. Yeah. That's pretty nice.
And also, rather than using free music, they probably paid somebody.
Yeah.
And as and because of that, they had to charge for it.
So Goloso Games, this is their first release title. They are also planning to release a game called Inspector Waffles. So I am sort of curious if this is sort of a demo for a game they want to, well, not necessarily demo, but a way to show that, hey, build a reputation, and then they have a game releases. And this one also has a detective raccoon. What?
Inspector Waffles? It's a cat. It's a cat. It's a witty cat detective.
Oh, okay. So the cat's a detective, but there's also Howard, which is, what I miss the most about my city? What? Interesting. So there's like a raccoon that looks almost exactly. I wonder if these devs know each other or something. And it's like an homage.
If it's set in Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. That would be funny. CEO of Box Furniture. I don't know. That's kind of neat that they're gonna be doing their own pixel art detective story. But yeah.
So this is good. I'm gonna keep something to keep an eye out for. So I always on the lookout for good point and click games.
Absolutely. All right, our next title is Thursday, April 25th. It is Yuppie Psycho, which it's a thing. It's hard to. I think it's sort of a point-and-click game with some platforming, or there's some sort of like there are some like other active gameplay parts of this, but it seems it's like this weird quirky Japanese story game where you're just kind of like a new guy at a company and you end up dead. So it seems it's pretty fascinating. It's got a 94% positive though.
It's so strange because you can't tell what sort of the mechanics are really. It looks sort of almost like an RPG, sort of maybe like a bit of there's some stealth in there or something. You're not quite sure, not 100% sure, but it looks fascinating. And I would like to see someone play this first before deciding on whether I was going to pick this up or not. But it's the imagery looks amazing.
I like how his boss is literally a demon. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Looks like the developer was Baroque Decay. The other game that they have there says the Count Lunacore. It looks like it's the exact same character.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if the games are related.
Oh yeah,
it came out a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, it looks like it is the that looks like the exact same character but in a different story. Inspired, but this one's inspired by classics like Zelda and Silent Hill. Interesting combo. So that's kind of neat. I wonder if the characters are self-input.
Sorry, what did you say, Bunny?
The games have different. Sorry, the games have different character names. This one here says join Hans in a fantasy world and experience a unique adventure, and the other one says join Brian Pasternak. So I mean, like they look the exact same.
Yeah, they look exactly the same.
Different names.
I think Hans is the kind of boy with the longer hair, and
maybe.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
I don't know. I'd maybe, if I was to get this, I'd maybe try the other one first.
Yeah. Because it seems the first one seems definitely more RPG type game. So
yeah, my word. Well, this one seems to be a bit of a parody of like the weird like the parody take to the extreme of the weird aspects of working in the corporate environment. Which is neat. And it also seems to have a bit of a replay system where like, oh, you die, and it's like, okay, gotta try it out in a different way. So it's a neat title. I like it.
Yeah. It looks fascinating. It's currently £16.66. There's no discount right now. I don't know how long it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this and the other title on my wish list.
Yeah. Just digging around more, it looks actually like they just changed the picture for Count Lunacore to include both of their games.
Oh, I see. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but that character's actually not in Count Lunacore.
Oh, okay.
Right, okay.
Or Lucanor, sorry.
Ah, interesting. That seems like a weird marketing thing to do.
Yeah, I mean...
and of course, warning, Yuppie Psycho does have disturbing imagery, if you couldn't tell, so they do have a little... I like it when they add mature content descriptions. I like that, they're very specific. But yeah, great horror intention throughout, an interesting story, and absolute stellar music and sound design. Congrats to Baroque Decay for making one of the best games this year. Well,
nice.
Good reviews. Yeah, and again, pixel art. You've probably seen a theme with this show.
There's a lot of pixel art this week.
Yes,
yeah,
a lot.
This game like seems like people running up like anywhere between 8 to 17 hours on it. So you know, I don't if like paying £16.66 is, you know, worth it for you to put for that amount of hours of gameplay, you know, go for it for sure.
I always measure things by Halo 2. Halo 2 takes 7 hours to complete. So Halo 2, in all its glory, took me 7 hours to complete. Can I buy this if it's going to take me 7 hours to complete?
Yep. All right. And our next title is Dark Devotion, which earlier this year, there's of course that Taiwanese game called Devotion, but this is not the same thing. This is a hack and slash. This is a side-scrolling hack and slash. Maybe made by... It's definitely made by a Chinese developer, but I'm not sure if they're China or Taiwan or Singapore. So it could be any of those three countries. I don't immediately recognize simplified Chinese as opposed to classical when I look at it. But yeah, it's
you keep cutting out. Sorry, the voice keeps cutting out occasionally.
Oh no, it is. It's probably because I'm drifting off. But yeah, so I'm lowering the tone of my voice. But so with this one, it's a side-scrolling hack and slash. I think it's you know, kind of you have to base your reaction times based on the frames, etc. And
it's kind of got like the Dark Souls roll.
Oh
yeah.
Dark Souls.
You're like rolling around.
Yeah, this is really beautifully done. I'm really loving the art style, and it's so beautiful. Obviously not my kind of game, but you know, I think we all know somebody who would really love this. It's there's 299 user reviews currently, and 73% of them have given it a positive review.
Oh wow!
So it's still, you know, there's still maybe a few problems. I'm not sure. The pros are surprisingly varied and fantastical soundtrack. Spending souls on talents is an interesting concept that almost feels great. Equipment variety is nice, many different approaches. Faith system shrines, rewarding triumphs immediately while still providing the player with interesting choices. Cons, abysmal control scheme that can't be remapped on controllers. Plethora of poor design decisions throughout the entirety of the game. Having to crouch to loot is extremely clunky and completely unnecessary. Unable to apply equipment to both sets at the hub for no clear reason. Must reapply equipment every time you die, slowing down an already tedious experience. Random debuffs punish players just for playing the game. Weapons and armor can only be reapplied if a blueprint drops from enemies, but the drop rate is low, forcing the players to farm particular enemies for a low chance of getting an item and more. Flying enemies often drop loot inside the walls, floors, or loot is left hanging in midair, inaccessible. Loot dropping on top of vents that automatically lift you, completely preventing retrieval of loot. Noticeable bugs and issues here and there that only continue to bring the experience down. Wow, this.
Wow.
I'm going to give you.
It's
this one
Diablo
person
2.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Heretic, for that detailed review.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still probably worth it for me to put it on my wish list. Yeah, this looks fantastic. It's with a lot of those design decisions, I would say that's more of a case of it's being old-fashioned. Quite a few of them. I think it's a lot of old-fashioned to that degree, because that, to me, a lot of those critiques, some of them definitely need to be fixed, but a lot of those critiques, it's like, this sounds like a early or to mid 2000s action RPG.
Yeah. I mean, they said the controller issue has been fixed, so that's good.
That's good. That was that was the thing that concerned me the most, is like controls, because controls is what you're going to be doing the entire game. So
yeah, and like 5 days after that, they did another hot fix. So it's good, Yeah.
My immediate concern when I saw it was I thought it would be fairly bland, because I thought that the character might only have one weapon. But then I saw that, like, oh wow, they can change their weapons, and there's a lot of different gameplay styles, etc. That really impressed me, and it kind of gives you more options where, like, oh, you have this boss that's really difficult. It's like, oh, why not try out a different weapon, kind of thing. And that's really neat. I like that a lot. It looks beautiful. Again, amazing pixel art. It is $20 US. If you're interested in picking it up, so it's a bit more expensive than games we talked about so far, but yeah.
Yeah, it's $17.49 here, and you probably I'm seeing people like play anything from 10 to 50 hours of gameplay, so maybe there's a lot of replay value in it. I'm not sure, so
I'm surprised they're not selling the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty popular thing to do.
Yeah. All right. And with that, our next title is Lost King's Lullaby. All right. Rhodey, you mentioned this one. It seems kind of like inspired by let me see, Undertale, to like the combat system in particular.
Yeah. It says it's I saw this and I thought, oh, it looked. I like the art style. This sort of like almost like a children's picture book kind of aesthetic. And yeah, it's a roguelike RPG, and you it's got those kind of Undertale kind of like battles that you can do. So I mean, those kind of games are not for me, but I saw this and I thought, there's going to be some people that would really like this kind of game.
Yeah, and it seems to have not been really noticed because it only has one review so far.
Yeah.
What about you, Top Gun?
I was watching the video again.
Mhm.
I don't know if I really like the combat system all that much, but like the art style, I was really like for the art style, and I'm just watching a little more, and I don't think I'd like it.
Yeah. The art style is really nice, but yeah, the combat system, as someone who's never been able to successfully finish Undertale either, I'm like, ugh, this again.
Yeah, because it's one of those things. If you're not like super quick on the controls, you don't have lightning fast reflexes and things like that, it's not fun for you. And it's, you know, I think this could like also suffer from those kind of things as well.
Yeah, it is $15. It's got this it's got the stunning artwork, absolutely stunning artwork. It's not really been noticed. It's by the developer Storeen Games. This is their first title. But they're published by Tessura, which it's also their first title on Steam.
There's one thing that one cool thing about it, I would say, was it says you'll always be surprised by our procedural woods. Each time you run your adventure, you will encounter new routes and paths, enemies, and treasures. So every playthrough, I guess, would be different.
Yeah,
well, that's interesting.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
So I've got a 4-hour review where the person said I could only ask for the story to be longer, but so I would guess that they were able to complete it in 4 hours.
Wow. I mean, it's £11.39. I'm not sure paying that amount of money for 4 hours. You know.
But yeah, like you were saying, it's nice for playability. So I mean, you might play for 4 hours, but you might play it again and again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If they had like it depends on how much the story changes between the runs. So I'm curious in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 hours. Yeah, and that is Lost King's Lullaby. It's been kind of passed up by the Steam community, so just want to make sure everyone is aware that it's out there. And our next title is from Friday, April 26th. We have Lorelai. So this seems to be one of those games that has a lot of like internet personalities involved in it.
A lot of mascara.
Yeah. Well, that too. A lot of mascara. Yong Yi, who is a gaming and pop culture news guy on YouTube, he is voice acting in this. And I saw a few other names that I recognized. I imagine a lot of the names are people that have some sort of internet fame.
Yes, Jim Sterling is in this.
Oh, yes, I do remember seeing that. Yeah, Jim Sterling.
Yeah.
He just gets flashed on there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I hear his laugh at the end, so it's fantastic.
So, yeah, it's got quite a collection of voice talent. And, it seems to be a horror adventure type game. With this sort of really weird art style that I can't really describe. It's like when a YouTuber makes a video about like surreal things and they use like Adobe. It
almost looks like it's like drawn with pen.
Yeah. It looks really odd, and it reminds me, and I think it is the same people that did Cat Lady. So it's the same. They use the same sort of art style, and the art style is just like unnerving, slightly unnerving. Things look really like faces look slightly distorted. So it just everything about it is unsettling, which I suppose what they're going for.
Yep.
I kind of like the art style, but what I'm finding a little bit jarring is the backgrounds in a lot of these areas are like 3D models.
Oh yeah. They use like 2D characters, but with 3D backgrounds.
3D backgrounds.
Yeah.
Hey, Stingy Tamale.
Yeah. So it's really really interesting.
Is this more of an interactive story?
I'm not entirely sure. I've been looking into it, but but it's a coming to age story. I'm not entirely sure where it's like it's a walking simulator. But yeah, it's work towards a bittersweet ending, apparently. Oh, there may be multiple endings. Let me see. Yeah, there may actually be multiple endings. But yeah, so it's got mostly positive reviews, but there are some negative reviews. Some folks don't like the plot. Some folks really like the plot. And there's at least one reviewer who had a save, like a corrupted save, so...
that's always rough.
But yeah, so it follows a similar style to The Cat Lady and Downfall. Yep, so...
Yeah, I was asked if I was, going to play Cat Lady, because, so, you like those kind of games, but it's... I don't... those kind of like really difficult like subjects and of talk about depression and despair and everything. Not always my kind of games. I think I quite like all those games that have a lot of introspection.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're always a bit.
Yeah, I've never been really into hot topic games, so like this or even when it comes to games like Path of Exile, which I love Diablo-like games, but I cannot play Path of Exile for very long because it's just such an oppressive atmosphere. Like everything is bad, life is bad, like it's so bad. And as someone who is kind of prone to being kind of down at times, I can't play games that have that sort of very oppressive atmosphere.
Yeah, it's like if you want to feel sad, listen to sad music.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I play video games because for escapism, and I want to have playing Frambo. There is that darkness to it, but there's also a lot of humor in there, and it's not all down in the dumps kind of thing. So if you are going to do if I am going to play like a dark game with some serious subject matter, it's like I want there to be still a humor in there, still a lightness in there as well.
Yep.
And optimism.
Yeah. And it's sort
Dark
of
Souls
funny.
is weirdly optimistic.
Yeah, it is. There is kind of a neat optimism to it. It is kind of weird. There are some games that have really dark storylines that, because they're just have a lighter atmosphere to them, even though when it does come to like the really dark conclusion or the dark event in the storyline, I can deal with that better because the entire game wasn't this very like Bastion. Bastion has some very dark ending to it, but and some dark occurrences, but because like the world of Bastion is a bit more cheerful and upbeat, even though the situation is dire, I can handle that. So I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing anything between 5 hours and like 12 hours of gameplay. So I suppose if if you're doing multiple choices and everything like that, and it's 11.39. Yeah.
Yeah, and $15 US. So
yeah.
So yeah. Also Lorelai, that's another like hot topic name. Lorelai. I don't know. Yeah, very very like deep and edgy.
It's pretty edgy, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I like female protagonist games and everything, but I don't know. It's pretty edgy. You could cut that one.
All right, Lorelai, and then the next one is Himno. So Himno is a peaceful 2D platformer. I actually saw this. There's no combat in this platformer, and it is free. You can buy the soundtrack though to help support the devs, and it's got a pretty simplistic, again, pixel art aesthetic, and it's just kind of a no combat platformer, which I think is kind of interesting.
yeah, I think it's quite nice looking, and it's unusual that it's all in the dark and you've got just these little lights following you so you can see like where you're going and stuff. So it's got that interesting challenge. But yeah, I like that it's free as well. So I like bringing. I know a lot of you have tight budgets, and so these are some. We've brought a lot of nice free games for you to try out.
I do find it funny that there's
really nice too.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the music does sound very nice. It's funny how he's got a sword in his back and there's no combat.
And there's no combat. Yeah. Just in case. It's just to break his fall.
Yeah.
He stabs into the wall to like. Yeah. But yeah, it seems to have pretty tight jump mechanics too, which that's good for a platformer, and not always present in a lot of these indie games. It's made by David Moralejo Sanchez. He also made Medieval Shopkeeper Simulator, which was fairly popular.
Ooh.
It's an early access game. Interesting. So you just...
Oh.
I really love simulator games. It's just so hilarious sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, if Falcon is still about, he owns this medieval shopkeeper.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you're still about Falcon, and if you can let us know how medieval shopkeeper is.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a 73% positive, so he's got at least one successful early access game before this. This one being free, 83% positive.
Yeah, there's 431 reviews on Himno, and 83% positive. That's really good. So yeah, maybe again building that portfolio.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I've already got it downloaded.
Oh, you got the Himno downloaded? Wow, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting, and I've seen a lot of people with like an hour or less played on it. So something nice, a nice short game. No non-violent, no death, just something you can play to relax, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
All right, and with that, we're on to Tuesday, April 29th with Tales of the Neon Sea.
What you cut out there?
Oh, Tales of the Neon Sea, yes. We've got... yeah. So this is another sort of dystopian investigation story. I'm seeing a theme. It's also pixel art. But yeah, so it's
Cyberpunk, yeah.
There's some dystopia. There's some pixel graphics. There's some adventure.
There's some neon lights.
We got some colors.
Another detective game. So this week's been is pretty good for me.
Oh yeah.
I think there might have been a convention or something.
Something like that.
There's the raccoon and detective convention.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is another like point and click game too. So
yeah,
Vancouver.
it looks fantastic.
It actually looks really good.
Yeah. This is one I
Detective Pikachu. Yeah.
I've kind of like kept an eye on in the last couple of months, because I heard this was coming out, and it looks amazing. It's so beautiful. But yeah, this is about so this is where humans and robots contend with escalating tensions and mutual distrust, and where gangster felines scheme their way to the top of the food train. Welcome to Tales of the Neon Sea.
Oh, yeah. The felines are intelligent and the gangsters now. Yes. Oh no. But yeah, it looks lovely. I guess everyone has to take a shot, because though they didn't say neon soaked, it is Tales of the Neon Sea, so it does imply you're soaked with neon. So everyone take a shot. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Buffoon Batman. Yes, you were looking at a beautiful pixel art point and click game, and it's cyberpunk, and there are cats in it.
Yep.
It's got cats. It's got darkness.
Yep, so there's a lot of puzzle design, and you get to step into the shoes of a cat, play as a cat, or furry par as a William, a small black street cat. So the cat is able to reach places that you can't, and so you get to actually play as the cat at times. So
Oh, nice.
That's on my wish list. I think I'd try that out.
Yeah, it's definitely on mine. You can buy the all 3 chapters, so I like that. Like they're not just brought out the one chapter and you have to wait a while. There's all 3 chapters for £12.14. There's 10% off right now. I'm not sure on how long it is. I'm seeing anything from 17 hours to like 30 hours.
It's down the bottom here in the about. It says release contains about 12 to 15 hours of gameplay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
Yeah, good to know.
It's nice when they include stuff like that.
And it says the following chapters of the main storyline will be released for free sometime
in autumn. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
Oh wow! And so this is chapters 1 through 3 all at once. That's nice.
Yeah.
And it's $15.29 US.
I think that's a good price, especially you're getting 3 chapters, and then anything that's they're bringing out afterwards, you're gonna get for free. So yeah.
So this is published by Zodiac Interactive. They also made Ancient Abyss, Bacterium. So they seem to be a Chinese game publisher. And yeah, I do think this Tales of the Neon Sea is a Chinese dev because the second language is Chinese. It's just my guess. Also, Blade Runner is really popular in China, so it is kind of neat that cyberpunk is something that Chinese and Americans really share. Chinese and Americans, and probably Europeans too, really like cyberpunk.
Oh, yes,
so it's just like it's a thing that unites the world. Cyberpunk.
United under cyberpunk.
Yes.
Not that awful steampunk garbage. No. We want colors.
People have said that. Well, one person has said that they're very disappointed because there's more puzzles than story, and the developers have responded and say this is something we're aware of, and steps are being taken to balance the experience. Our goal was to try and maintain the challenge through to the end of the game, but we didn't intend to sacrifice story as a result. Thanks for your review and feedback.
Oh, so the devs are replying to reviews. That's kind of neat.
Yeah,
they have their Discord popped up there or posted there as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to go actually talk to them right now, you can.
It's interesting. Someone said, it said the game is not bad, but it should be noted that this is far more a traditional puzzle platformer than it is a story-based cyberpunk RPG. If you like puzzle games, then this would be a good choice, but it's not my type of puzzler. Hoping for a bit more of a story side to it, but the puzzles are an obstacle to me in that regard. So, and that was on May the 1st.
All right, so this is not a point-and-click game. It is a
this is
interesting.
I mean, I'm gonna say puzzle adventure game maybe. So,
I think I prefer that, honestly.
Yeah.
For me, at least, the type of games I play.
Yeah. I've got it on my wish list. It just seems pretty fascinating, and it doesn't seem to have too much focus on combat.
Sorry, what was that last bit you cut out again?
Oh, it doesn't seem to have too much of a focus on combat. I've got to keep an eye on the levels to see if it's me or you.
Well, I heard it too.
Oh, you heard it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it is cutting out. Ah, man, I changed my filters. What is wrong?
But yeah, I think with this, I'm going to wait if they are actually going to rebalance it so there is a bit more, storyline coming through, which is what you want, really.
You know what? That makes sense, Stingy Tamale. It's probably Discord. If the audience is hearing me, my gate on Discord is probably too aggressive. So I just need to go in the settings there.
We are only hearing you through Discord, so.
Yep. All right. So the next title is from Wednesday, April 30th, and it is Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark. And while y'all talk about that, I'm going to go ahead and fix my audio.
This looks like a lot of it looks like Vandal Hearts, Final Fantasy Tactics, like all those games that I played on PS1 like way back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Except like with really cool artwork.
So I'm a bit about the artwork because it looks like, you know, some bits of it are really good, and some of them are a bit crunchy.
It definitely mixed, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
But I mean, like in competition with what I played with in PlayStation versus now, it's like like the graphics are good now as opposed.
Yeah.
If I was to go back and play those games.
It's a shame that the artwork is so inconsistent because there's some points where it say, oh yeah, that looks really good, and then some parts are just like, oh no. But I'm not a big, I like the turn-based games, but I'm not really into these sort of like kind of tactical games.
Sort of chessboard. Chessboard
games. Yeah, I'm not into that.
I was kind of noticing that the art style does kind of seem to, I don't know, it seems a little jarring in places. I'm not entirely sure whether it's like just the characters not matching with the background. I'm not sure. But overall it does look very nice.
Yeah, it might just be like multiple artists working on the same piece.
Yeah, I think they should have worked so it was a bit more cohesive or something, because it just all over the place.
Their art director needed to be more of an asshole. It's like, no, you draw it this way. You draw it like... internally, from what I understand, back at ArenaNet, the art director there, in order to make sure that their art style was very uniform, I think it was Dosiu, his last name was Dosiu. He was the art director, but apparently, like, he was so super strict. It was like, do it again. I was like, no, it's not. It had to be exactly, because he defined the art style. Everyone had to mimic his art style so closely.
Yeah, they do that a lot when you have like comic book adaptations of TV shows or like animated TV shows. I actually went to like a comic book convention around here called Halcon, and one of the artists for the My Little Pony franchise was there. Like she basically, what she does is she has to look at everything that happens in My Little Pony and then draw it into comic books. So she has to be very, very meticulous. I was having a conversation with her. She was very meticulous about like how their noses look and how like their shape of everything is, and like she has to mimic it entirely, right? So
it's
I think it might be that, just like multiple artists, like kind of wanting to have their own flair and not necessarily, like you said, having a cohesive direction.
If you're an independent artist, you can kind of be more freeform, but as soon as you're an artist who's working with other artists, suddenly art becomes a lot of math.
Yeah. It's like exactly like take out your it has to be.
You were taking out your ruler, measuring the degrees of a curve, like you were doing all of that as soon as you become an artist who's working with other people. You cannot be just a creative artist and be working with other people. You have to become a technical artist. That's just what happens. So, so technical art.
But this is this has gotten a lot of positive reviews, and a lot of people have picked this up. There's 489 reviews and 91% of them are positive. So this is really good. It's 15% off right now, and it's £20.39. And I
think it's the most expensive game we've looked at today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I quite like the character art too. My word, it's just just nice designs, and it's nice to see a variety of people because it doesn't look like they took a template and just like added different beards and hair and and like it looks like they actually like handcrafted each character's appearance, which I like. So that is very nice. I've got it on my wish list. It's $25.49 US, $29.99 when not on sale. So, yep. And this is 6 Eyes Studio. This is their first game. Okay. 1C Entertainment, though, we are like people should be fairly familiar with some of their work. Oh, they did Eternity: The Last Unicorn, which was kind of a Duker game. But they did do Deep Sky Derelicts.
Which we've spoken about, yeah.
So yeah, they've got 11 pages of games on their like publisher page. So they've published a lot of indie games.
Crazy amount.
Right. Our next title is Bitlogic, a cyberpunk arcade adventure. This one has a nice cringy live action trailer too. So I love these. Love these.
You should hire the guy who designed the movie adaptation of Sonic.
Oh yeah. Let me see. I think the first one's just video, so this was a really old game apparently, and it's just been updated for new computers, and you can play it with in the old graphics as well as the new graphics. I'm just trying to find the point in the video. Yes, the live action trailer. Now everyone enjoy this while we talk about it. So yeah.
So the updated version of the game, the graphics and everything, to me kind of looks worse than the old style game.
But like I the way I look at it, it's like when the game came out, it probably didn't look very good. And now when it got re-released, it kind of just doesn't look very good.
No.
So it's really captured the essence of the game, right?
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't look very good.
Oh my word. Yeah. It is kind of a neat, if you maybe played this game back when it originally came out, it might be kind of cool to get it again. I do think it is cool that they still kept the old, like you can toggle between the old and new art style, which is something a lot of these like remakes have done, which is cool. I like that a lot. Oh, live action trailers.
Great. It was great.
Oh
dear.
I feel like this is probably just the dev too. Like it's not I don't think it's an actor. I think they just
No.
Just weird. Anyhow,
I mean, this isn't going on my wish list, but I will, I'll
I'm never going to speak about this ever again.
No, never going to speak about this ever again. So yeah, it's $5.99 US.
It's $4.79 UK, and there's only 5 reviews so far, and I think only 1 in English, and they've chalked up 2 hours and 2.3 hours on it. So yeah, I don't know how long it is.
Oh, these are even credits for the actor. Let me see. What's the actor's name? Hamke. Yeah, okay. So some guy named Hamke did the acting, and Kim Navarro did the sound. So sound photography. Yeah. It's so this is a Spanish developer. Yeah, from Spain. So, yep. I wonder, and they may have also made the original game, probably. All right, so the next one is Thursday, May 1st. We have Micromages. So Mayday, it is our first Mayday game. So this one, Micromages, is really cool. This game is not an NES game. Like, it wasn't made back when the NES was. But this game was designed, like, now for the NES. So they actually sell cartridges, so you can take it home and play it on your NES if you want to.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. But you can also play it on Steam. So they do a lot of neat things. Like one thing they did is they altered the scaling of the pixels, so it allows for a more smooth experience on the NES, because the NES is displaying on a larger resolution screen than the NES was designed for. So they made all the pixels smaller. It's just there's a lot of fascinating little shortcuts they did to make this game look a lot better than a typical NES game, which is just sort of fascinating. I know a few people who still develop for Atari, like the Atari console. They still make new games for the Atari console. Wow. It's just kind of a hobby thing, so it's neat that one of these games ended up on Steam. So an NES.
I think that's a really good way to do things, because it's like, you know, I'm sure there are a lot of people that collect retro consoles, and you know, they'll go around and they'll get the old games at these at conventions and car boot sales and whatnot, and it's like, well, you know, here's a new game for your retro console. But I think it's good that you can also play it on Steam as well.
That's that video that I just posted in chat is called "How We Fit an NES Game into 40 Kilobytes," and it's made by the devs.
Oh wow, that's very neat. Okay. But yeah, so this is like 40 kilobytes. You could download it within a few seconds. They are selling it for $10.99, so it's a bit more expensive. But I have been seeing, you know, for at least the pixel art indie games we've seen today. But this it's couch co-op up to 4 players, and one thing that's sort of neat is that players can really screw each other over. If you can jump off of your friends, and you do have character collision, so you can knock them off of walls and stuff. So when you're all 4 of you are playing together, you can make trouble for each other, which makes for an interesting collaborative environment or not collaborative environment.
Oh god, no! I'd be absolutely terrible at this, playing with somebody else.
There's also upgrades, and if you pick up the upgrade, your friends don't get it. So it's all like, hey, no, I need that.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yep.
Well, this is 8/29, so yeah. And there's 26 spooky levels.
Oh, 26. Oh, and from my experience seeing the levels we played, I watched a YouTube playthrough, just blind playthrough, of a couple guys playing it on 2-player. And I think it took them about 7 to 8 minutes per level, and then they get to a boss. There's a boss at the end of the level. So I think that means there's 28 bosses too. So yeah, that's kind of, it's pretty well made. The bosses are all really interesting, and there's a decent amount of difficulty. And they even have a save mechanic like the NES, where they give you a code that you have to type in, so in order to restart on the save. So yeah, NES Magica, yes, it's so neat. It's just kind of a cool nerdy thing that they've done here.
Yeah, it's really great.
Oh, and there's hard modes too. Okay, so 26 spooky levels, so there's a normal mode and a hard mode. Oh, okay. That is very, very cool. Yeah, so as far as like hours, it sort of depends how good you are at platforming. Some people it's taken, 30 hours to complete, others significantly less. Because yeah, I would say 6 to 7 minutes per level would be a good guess. So 3 hours, assuming all the levels are the same difficulty, which they're not. So if you're a god at platformers, this will take you 3 hours. So yeah, micro mages. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
No, it's just it's super interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, our next title is Detective D, The Silk Rose Murders. And this is believed, yes. This is
our 4th
Chinese
detective game today.
Yes, so many detective games. And it's pixel art.
Yeah. But this is it looks like from the Chinese developer. So
yep.
And it's got Chinese set in
Tang Dynasty,
ancient China.
Yep.
So I like there are now these stories that are coming to the West.
Mm-hmm.
We can find out a bit more about the Tang's dynasty, capital city and stuff like that. So this is about you're on the tracks of a serial killer.
Oh.
So yeah, this is again another game that's right up my street, definitely. And I know someone else who'd really like this as well, because they're really into sort of like Chinese stories as well. So yeah.
Yeah, there's entire franchises of Chinese RPGs that are just now starting to come west, which is kind of neat, with Steam being open to that. So there have been some pluses to Steam's new publishing standards. But yeah, it's his pursuit of a brutal serial killer. This is fascinating. But yeah, it's great pixel art. It's a neat setting. I've heard of Detective D before. I believe he features in quite a few like Chinese dramas. I don't know if he was a real person or a legendary type figure, but this sort of story of a Tang Dynasty detective is really popular in China. So yeah, it's neat that this is
like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're Sherlock Holmes. So yep, all the reviews are in Chinese, so I can't really get too much data from that because I'm not fluent in Chinese. But they do promise that it has English. So
yeah, and it's 70 users, 97% of them are positive.
So yeah, this is set during the time when the first and only female empress of China, Wu Zetian, rises to power. Within months of her ascension to the throne, murmurs of discontentment and revolution swell. So it's kind of in a politically unstable period. It's just a neat setting, and I'm of the opinion that you can always learn a lot of stuff about a culture from their fiction, as well as their history. So I wouldn't go to this expecting historical accuracy, but it may give you cultural insights. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, this is going on my wish list. It's 10% off right now. It's £7.46.
Yep.
I'm not sure how long it is though. Do they say?
$9.89. Looking at Chinese reviews, let me see what they say. 5. I'm seeing a lot of 5, 6 hours, 13 hours in the upper range, but yeah, a lot of 5 or 6 hours. So
yeah.
Yep.
So it's not bad price. Not bad price really, because yeah.
All right. Buffing Batman, that is true, but understand that the Chinese gaming culture is different from Korean, which is different from Japanese, and what each of those countries view as a good game is going to be significantly different. So yeah, it is true that there is a degree of like strong critique, but some of the times like they would critique a Western game and call it crap would be games that we would find really renowned and very good. So there is some cultural ideas. Yeah, for example, Korea is about the grind life. When it comes to Korean MMOs, if it doesn't have a good grind experience, it's not a good MMO.
Yeah, if it's not MapleStory, it's not shit.
Yeah. So there's some cultural differences there because they play games for different reasons depending on the genre. For example, MMOs. In Korea, they play MMOs to hang out with friends at a computer cafe. So they do that, and so they want a grindy game so you don't have to think about the game and you can hang out with your friends. But it's, it's a cool world, it's a cool immersive world to hang out with your friends in. So they have a different set of values than Western gamers because their environment where they play their games is different. So there is a situation like that. With China, I don't give as much weight to Chinese reviews because gaming has been more restricted in China than it has been in the West. And so for a lot of gaming, their gaming community is not as mature as, say, the Japanese or Korean gaming communities. And so they're willing to accept more shit on some levels than Japanese or Korean or even Taiwanese gamer, because they just have less experience with what the world has to offer when it comes to gaming. So when it does come with Chinese reviewers, now that doesn't mean that they don't know what they like, etc. But it does mean that they may not have as much experience. Now that's changed a lot recently with China. China's new kind of opening up with consoles. Now consoles were made legal a few years ago, and now they're starting to get more of that. But yeah, I would generally, when it comes to gaming, as to whether I will like it, I'm going to trust a Japanese or Korean reviewer a bit more. Because they exist in more similar realm to the Western gaming market, especially Japan, because Japan has kind of dictated the Western's gaming's taste to a degree. So yeah, like I would probably trust a Japanese game review more than a European game review in many ways, because Europe has a thing with simulators and I don't like simulators.
Sorry. What? I didn't pick that up. What was that?
I was just talking about how I may trust a Japanese game review more than a European game review, just because European games, there's a lot of simulator gameplay and stuff that's really popular, and that's just not my style, and it's not as popular in America. So
interesting.
Yeah. So there were culture regional differences. That was all this big side thing, but it was so interesting to me, so I had to talk about it. Damn it, buffoon Batman, getting me off track. Our next title is Landinar Into the Void. So this one just came out of early access. It had a mostly positive in early access at 71%, but now it's mixed at 64% after launch. It is a top-down space adventure RPG. Europe loves FIFA, exactly.
Yeah.
Like all the people I play Sea of Thieves with live in Europe. Because they're just like, no, I like this. This is a simulator. This is a pirate simulator.
Yeah, you know what? I've noticed that. Yeah, and then Russia has an entirely different set of tastes, which is just, it's fascinating. The geography of gaming is fascinating to me. Yeah. So, but yeah, and I find my tastes most aligned with Russians for some reason. I like their RPGs a lot. But yeah, so this is sort of an outer space game. It's described as a hidden gem. This is developed, I don't know where it's developed. It's all English, so Convoy Games. It's top-down RPG.
This is a mashup of different things for me. It seems, because it's like, you're in space, but you're also, it looks like you're on a space station as well.
Yeah, you build a ship, but then you also have like this top-down RPG experience, and then you also seem to have space battles. There's dialogue trees too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it just seems like there's a lot going on, and I'm wondering if each aspect is pulled off well enough.
Yeah,
for it.
That is always a concern, because I doubt that they're tightly polished in every aspect. Because particularly the space battles seemed, this is going to sound weird, floaty. Which I guess you're in space; it's supposed to be floaty, but the controls didn't seem that tight to me.
So yeah, I think a lot of maybe the negative reviews have said buggy as hell, minor bugs, major bugs, game-breaking bugs. Avoid the game until fixed, not optimized. So that was today.
That's today? Okay, so buyer beware, maybe buggy. They have gotten May 2nd, they had an update. Small main menu. They're telling people to delete a file. Graphic options.
Jeez. Oh my god! and the thing is, this was in early access.
Yeah.
So you think, that would have been sorted by now. Jeez, that's really bad.
But it does seem that they're being active with updates, but they need to. Sorry, that tickled me. Oh my word, I'm sorry. Oh my word, that's funny. Okay. Oh my word. And that just reminds me of an update of a company I once worked with where our update was like, okay, so we made the update. And we also include like instructions when people had to go on their registry. I just thought that was funny. Oh my word. Yep. Oh gosh.
I'd expect something like that for maybe a private server or something where it's like one guy putting this game.
Anyhow, it is $20. You can buy it in a bundle for $23 with the previous game. Well, I guess the Convoy games. Their first game was Convoy. Yeah. Which Convoy seems to have this interesting like outer space. Oh, outer space, and then you get to a planet and you build like a convoy. But it was mostly positive, 78%. So they've got experience. Yeah,
and there's 825 people have reviewed that game. Yeah. So you know.
But they came from pixel art to 3D, so that's that changes a lot of stuff. A lot more things can go wrong. Yeah, nothing worse than paying for early access, though. Yeah, paying the company to beta test. Exactly.
Yeah, I would wait. You know, if this is something that interests you, give it a follow. See where they go with it. How quick they're sorting out these problems, because it's like $16.99 UK. So
yeah. I do that they advertise handcrafted universe and that it's not just a procedurally generated thing. I do like that. But yeah.
I like the reviews that they've posted up here. It's like rock paper scissors shotgun said it's showing great promise. It's like dear.
You have thoughts, TopGunBunny?
I don't know. I like that you can build your ship, and you could like.
That is cool.
Like,
that is.
It's like cool. It's like playing The Sims and just building the house, and that's okay for me.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't think that I would get into any of that stuff.
That is kind of cool. It's just sort of give you a bit more attachment to your ship when you're actually building it and putting it together. That's kind of neat.
I see too that there's like a section of the video where there's the guy's kind of going through his ship and it's on fire and he's like extinguishing the fire. So I mean, you could possibly kind of screw yourself over there somehow by building your ship not ergonomically, too complex, not ergonomically safe enough. Be able to extinguish fires when they happen. But, I don't know, maybe.
That's kind of neat. All right, our next title is Friday, May 2nd. It is called Guard Duty. It looks like the dev might be streaming.
Oops.
It's been loading for me for a while.
All right, so this is a point-and-click game that involves you traveling back in time? No. Or is this like your descendant in the future? Yeah, so it's about love, loss, and the end of the world. So yeah. Yeah, I think you're traveling between times. So that's kind of neat. So it's got like the medieval half of the game and the dystopian future half of the game, which is that's kind of a cool combination.
Yeah.
Cap tours.
It's interesting, interesting to me. It's point and click game. It reminds me of something, but I can't remember which game off the top of my head. But there are certain scenes in this, and I just say, "Oh God, yeah, that's from that game." I wonder if this is just an updated version or something like that. But yeah, I would if it's like based on like maybe, you know, an old style point and click medieval game like King's Quest, or I'm trying to think of a few more. They use a lot of moon logic, so I don't know how great the puzzles were going to be in this, but you know, I could be worried about nothing.
Yeah, they do have 96% positive of their 25 reviews. Let me see. Sick Chicken Studios, what else have they done? Nope, this is the first thing on Steam.
You can buy the soundtrack.
Yeah, you can buy the soundtrack. Justin, get on that. But yeah, this is a $10 game. Let's see.
I can't really see any. I can't find it. I'm trying to look for a negative review, because usually, like, people will, with a negative review, they'll put exactly, you know, what they don't like about it, or what it's suffering from. But no, everyone.
Yeah. So yeah, this is it looks like it's probably about 4 hours long, for the fastest playthrough, and yeah.
So it looks like the game takes place in 2 different time periods, but it's not the same character.
It's not the
2
same?
different characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, interesting.
I probably put this on my wish. Yeah, I've got it on my wish list anyway, and I, you know, I'll eventually play it after my other games. But yeah, it seems interesting enough, and it seems, you know, very well done.
Yeah,
like the artwork and
again,
stuff.
pixel art, and hey, there's at least some neon in the future. We've got that covered. All right. So $10.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's £7.19. Yeah.
And I'm guessing 12 Canadian.
It's $11.50.
$11.50. Okay, close. I'm figuring out. So the next title is Black Paradox, which you can also buy the soundtrack for. This is very neon. Kind of you're flying a, what's that car that they used to time travel in Back to the Future?
DeLorean.
DeLorean. It looks like a DeLorean. So you're flying a DeLorean in a sort of side-scrolling shooter. Yep. With kind of a 1980s vibe to it. So
it's neon.
Hyper stylized roguelite.
Yeah. Oh, so it has roguelite elements too. Okay, so that means probably get killed, and you're getting attacked by more flying cars. Wow. Okay. This looks fun. I don't have too much to criticize about it, because it just kind of looks fun.
Yeah. Looks like a lot of fast-paced action, and you know,
it looks like Star Fox to me, but from the side. Like, it's just like a lot of these glowing white balls as things you have to avoid. I don't know.
Yeah, I love the color palette. Normally I don't include shmups on this show, just because it's hard to make something a shmup that actually brings something new. But this one at least looks unique. Like, I could look at this and tell that it's not the same as all the other shmups. So that's nice. They put some effort into the artwork. It's got a different color scheme. It's nice. That's nice. Probably not going to get it myself, because I'm not a huge fan of shmups. But it's for those who like shmups. This one looks pretty okay.
Yeah, it's $11.39 for anyone who does.
Yep. $14.99 US.
$17.50. I'm not paying $17.50 for this.
There are 14 deadly bosses, 1 secret boss, so 15 bosses altogether. Don't know how long it is.
I mean, shmups don't tend to be very long games.
No.
It's 89. It's 89% positive though. 62 different enemies. Yeah. 20 weapons, 37 power-ups, 13 deadly drones, 8 amazing power-up combos. They definitely put some effort to make it varied a bit. Yeah, music is fantastic. The sound effects are meaty. The weapons feel nice. The upgrade system makes it that every run feels interesting. For those of you who play Steriden, this game is remarkably similar to the point that I had to check the developers see if they weren't the same one. Oh, really? So I wonder what the Steriden. Nope. Steriden. Okay. So there's another game, Steriden. How similar does this look? This doesn't look that similar. He was saying that they looked almost identical. I can look at this and immediately tell that it's not identical.
Hmm.
Oh, it is a roguelike though, so it's a roguelike shooter.
Yeah.
Okay. So they've got some mechanical similarities.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. But I don't think it's exactly the same. Yeah, it's I would say it's probably taking people about looks like it's about 6 hours long. So yeah, 6 hours. I probably wouldn't pay $15 for this, even though I'm not a small person.
Maybe get it on sale. Sale.
Put it on your wish list, get it on sale. And with that, we've got Saturday, May 3rd. Our final game of the week is Bit Dungeon 3. So there's 1 and there's 2, and now we have 3. I think only 2 is on
Steam.
On Steam, yeah. But yeah. So this is a 2D action adventure game with roguelite elements. Roguelites are everywhere nowadays. So make allies with other players or kill them for their precious inventory items. So in this game, like Souls, you can, like the Dark Souls series, you can invade people's worlds. So you can kind of pop into their world, and then you can either be their friend or their foe. Yeah, so there's
the worst.
That description is like 10 red flags, but it looks decent. Yes. Yeah, because when you die, you do drop your stuff, so players can take that and get your gear. Or you guys can work together and be nice.
No way.
Yeah. But yeah, the art style, it's pixel art style. It also uses that similar, like, so it's pixels plus that shadow puppet animation where, you know, different items, they're just kind of moving these solid parts. So it looks fine because of that. It's mixed right now. Yeah, 68%. Let me see. What is Dungeon?
Oh, on mine it says it's mostly positive.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, interesting.
77%, 22 users.
Oh, okay. I only got 16 reviews, so I probably don't have the most fresh version of it. But yeah, it's Kento Games. They make also Bit Dungeon 2, which has 82% positive, so that one's doing much better than Bit Dungeon 3.
I do like the little character. The main character looks so cute. It's adorable.
It does look really cute. It's nice. Also, they made a Berserk reference with that curse mark. That's interesting. Someone reads the Berserk manga. But yeah, it's... oh, hey, neat. It has more features than the previous game. They added maps and inventory space. Woo. Okay, so that's 1.8 hours, a positive. Where's the negative reviews? After 1 hour play, I have officially asked for a refund. That being said, allow me to explain why. Okay, so they're disappointed in it. It's a really long... Oh my gosh, it's a long-winded review. I can't read that.
Oh.
Okay, just express your displeasure in 2 sentences or less.
It's like getting that really long text from your ex. I don't want to read this. Can you just give me the clip notes?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I had a roommate who would do that, where like if I hadn't done the dishes that day, it'd be like this 3-paragraph long thing. And it's like, So you just want me to do the dishes? That's all you have to say.
I've had a housemate like that. He said, I've been doing my research and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it's like, so wait, you just upset because the other housemate didn't quite get it into the bin and it's just spilled at the side. You should just say to them next time, can you make sure if you spill a bit out of the bin just to wipe it up? You know.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's all you have to say. You don't have to make this big long 3-paragraph thing, like literally one sentence, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take care of it.
Yeah, this game was shite.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I might check this out, but I already have so many roguelites in my Steam library that I don't know where it'd fit this one. But I might check out Bit Dungeon 2 before this one, just so that I can compare the two.
Yeah, we need someone who's like really hardcore into roguelites. Those, you know, who totally look forward to these games.
Yeah.
I need another one. And they can say, yeah, this, well, compared to other games I've played, roguelites I've played, this one is
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that the thing with roguelites, you can't really tell if it's well designed until after the first several runs, and then you're kind of like, oh, okay, I see how the system of this game works. Like, you have to jump in, but... Oof.
And I do not want to be a part of it.
No.
Yeah.
So I see how this game works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But roguelites are usually better with people. This one, though, it seems... Can you actually do co-op straight up? You do have online co-op and online multiplayer, so maybe they can team up with a friend who's actually not going to screw you over.
Yeah, it said that you can play the game offline, but it gives you handicaps.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
This is 15% off right now, so it's £9.68 in the UK.
Yeah, it's $12.74 US with 15% off. Yep.
It's $15.
$15 Canadian. So, I mean, the nice thing about roguelites, you get a lot of time out of it, but you do have to understand roguelites are just a really fancy Skinner box. I like them, I really do, but they're designed that way to specifically make you play them as long as possible. I understand this. But it's still really addicting. And with that is all of the releases. Yeah, that's all of the releases. My word, we're done. And that's
a lot of raccoons. There's a lot of detectives.
Oh no!
Actually,
Brody.
I have some bad games to bring to.
Do they have any raccoons or detectives in them?
What you're on about? They are the goodest games.
If it had a raccoon, it would be a good game. It would have made the list.
It would be a 10 out of 10. It'd be game
If
of the year.
it's a ferret on a pirate ship, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
So my first dishonorable mention, is Funny Bunny Adventures.
Funny Bunny Adventures. Okay, it's got a nice icon. Okay, nice looking. What the statement is nice looking and fun game that develops logical
This is a Facebook
thinking.
game.
Yeah, or one of those terrible mobile games, and it's £7.19.
Their summary is written like it's a review.
Yeah.
Oh no!
It is highly recommended for children.
And the cons or contras they've put on here is like, it is designed for tablet, optimally 9 to 12. Well, not really a flaw. Lucky for me, my nephews are just right age, older than 4, younger than 9. I doubt they would play it if they were 10. So it's just like, what? Bit too short. Apart from that, it's a
have
nice
you ever
game for kids.
have you ever spoken to a parent before? That's how they talk. Yeah, I know. Wow. He's 7 now. Yeah, I'm not sure if he'll like it.
Yeah,
it's translated to just about every language under the sun. Well, not
because they had about 5 sentences to translate.
But this makes me sad because when I was a kid, I had much better video games to play.
I was thrown to the wolves when I was this age.
Yeah.
As children should be.
But yeah, it just looks terrible, and it's just like a lot of different mechanics thrown in.
Yeah, it looks like a shitty mobile game.
Yeah.
And it's on the Steam store.
For £7.19. Unbelievable.
I had a little bit of hope initially when I saw it, and then I was like, oh. And then the hope gradually went away. So.
I do have another one for you.
Okay, another one. All right, destroy my soul more.
This is the last one. It's let me copy it. I think it's called Dire Crisis. Let me put it in the chat there.
Dire Crisis. What the? You will awaken this night. Retake control of a maximum security prison full of terrifying unsolved mysteries. Oh. Oh no. Well, they got the F-bomb. It's edgy. Canada. None of the above it. Oh, this is a Canadian game, of course.
And it's the weird thing is, like, some of the artwork for it looks pretty good, but then it's like the text for it looks just terrible, and there's just weird things going on in the trailer, and you're like, why have you done it like this? And...
Oh no.
But the real kicker, kids, is the price. This is £30.99.
Oh my gosh. It's $39.99 US. Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh, and you can't even like see what the gameplay is. Okay.
No, not until right at the end. Sort of like
there we go. Yeah.
When you get a minute and a half into it, and it's got that again that puppetry kind of animation to it,
but not well done.
No.
Guess what's coming soon?
What's coming soon?
Raku Venture.
Raku Venture.
But it's see, I wouldn't have so many complaints about this. You know, he showed a bit more of the gameplay, and of course, it was at a much lower price point. It's like, okay, yeah, this could be like a quite an interesting indie game, but this is their first game, and I don't know what they were, you know, what they were thinking at all. I did read the only review that is up on there, and again, it's like an essay, and it says I do not write reviews, clearly, because you wouldn't have written an essay for it. So this is one of my first and probably last one. I know I want to shit on the dev, but I want people to know what they are buying for such a price. Let me give you a little backstory. Dire Crisis was in development since 2014 and was, presumably, first shown on Dev's Newgrounds account. It did get my attention, though honestly I don't remember when, but due to the lack of updates and me focusing on other games, I eventually forgot about Dire Crisis. And then yesterday, it suddenly appeared on the Steam store with a ridiculously high price. Curiosity and interest took over me, and so I decided to buy this game and give it a shot. So where do we start? So then it goes on.
Oh my word.
So, and the dev did reply.
What did they say?
He said, Hey Nedley Deadly, thanks for your review. Although you're not recommending, I feel like you spent a lot of time writing it. Maybe next time I can beat your expectations. Thanks. It's like
they've got 3 negative reviews. My word.
Yeah.
They're going for that 100, that coveted 100% negative review score. Wow. Okay. Oh my word, Dire Crisis. Oh wait, and you said what, that Raku?
I just like to note that if I was today to only ever play video games that had raccoons in it, I would be able to play video games forever.
Oh wow! Just more raccoon games.
More raccoons. There's more raccoon games.
Yep. Yeah. There's it is kind of fascinating. Like I remember back in the day when like video games, there's like you'd have 1 or 2 major releases every month or something, and so some people, the people who had the money, had the disposable income, they could stay completely caught up on what the games were for the most part, all the worthwhile games at least. Nowadays, you can have such a specific niche and you still can't keep up.
So no, I only play games with raccoons.
I only play games with raccoons, and you'll just have plenty of games to play. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my word. Anyhow, TopGunBunny, let everyone know what you're up to, where they can find you, because that's
I'm just
all.
playing RuneScape on my phone.
Yeah,
not doing anything.
Yeah, well,
I'm on Twitch sometimes, I guess.
Yep.
TopGunBunny is my name. I'm in the chat. Hey, I play RuneScape.
Yes. He streams all the old meme games. That's what he does. So
I'm such a piece of shit.
and sometimes new games. But yeah. And Rody Pie, what about you? What's your next place?
Yeah, I don't play League of Legends and Fortnite.
Oh yeah, that is true. That's true. You're not the bottom tier.
Principle. Yeah. I don't play League of Legends.
You're not in the inner circle of hell.
I only play Smite and PUBG, okay?
Okay. All right.
All right, Rody.
So hopefully I will be back this Tuesday, although, we'll see what the calendar brings up, but I will be starting brand new point and click game called Perils of Man. So another short click game. So and hopefully be on back on Tuesday and Thursday at 9:30 p.m. UK time. I'm just checking my calendar to see if I've got anything on this coming week. No, I don't. Yes. So yeah, I will be hopefully back on Tuesday and Thursday.
Yep. And as for me, I am streaming on, of course, the Sunday Steam Release podcast. I'm also streaming on Saturdays. Usually around 3 p.m. you can find me on, but my Saturdays can vary as to what happens. But normally 3 p.m. on Saturdays. And I also stream sometime in the week. I'm trying to make sure to always stream on Friday. But we shall see. I'm a working adult, so what do you gotta say? Like, it's just life. But yeah, I mostly stream ARPGs and MMOs. So, action RPGs, MMOs, and occasionally roguelikes. But usually the roguelites are action RPGs anyway. So yeah, really varied. That's me. But yeah, that's what I've been doing lately. I've been having a lot of fun in Hammerwatch, a lot of fun in Titan Quest, a lot of fun in Final Fantasy 14. That's about it until I finish those games and start touching the other games in my library that are feeling really lonely. So yeah, that's me. And I just added a ton of games to my wish list from this show, so never going to be caught up. Yeah, like Guild Wars 2. Yeah, I've totally neglected Guild Wars 2 because I'm just not in the Guild Wars 2 mood. Just haven't been. I'm sorry. I miss it, but I kind of don't. But once it gets updates, as soon as Guild Wars 2 gets a story update, I am on that. I'm going to be on that day one playing it. So with that, that's that's about me. Thank you so much, Top Gun and Rody Pie. Thank you so much for coming by. It was a long show. And future shows will be shorter than this. Yeah,
we did 2 weeks in 2.5 hours, as opposed to 1 week in 2 hours.
Yeah, that's true. We did a pretty good job. So we did a pretty good job, even with some tangential conversation. With all that said, thank you so much to everyone who stopped by in the chat. We're thrilled to have you guys here every week. Akihel, thank you for keeping the chat busy. Stidgy Tamale, I love to see you again. We gotta hang out sometime since we now live in the same city. But And yeah, Godless Weeb showed up. Fonsel14, thank you. And
Mr. Batman.
Mr. Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Batman.
Dr. Batman.
Oh, do check out Buffoon's Batman's YouTube channel. By the way, he cosplay Kerry. They do wonderful sketches and also Cooking with Batman show.
Oh, he's a tuber. I didn't know that. I'll have to check him out then. So, and with that, that's the end of our show. So, like and subscribe. Hey, boys.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
It's your boy. Okay.
All right. Yeah, we did this too much last
time. So, all right. Thank you. So, bye-bye, YouTube. We're going to find someone to raid on Twitch and spread the love. They're probably going to be another indie game player, so let's go find